Good afternoon. I'm Dawn Pecor. I did my literature review on gender gap in healthcare leadership for my Communications 320 course. Why did I select this area to research? I thought it would be a very interesting topic. It's a topic that I noticed throughout the years and that we even discussed in class. I've seen the gap between men and women in healthcare leadership on the military side. Before I retired, one time I was sitting at the executive leadership table and I was the only female sitting there. And I thought, it's 2015, there should be more females sitting at this table besides me, but there wasn't. And then I moved to the outside and I see the same issues are going on in the civilian world. And I think it's an important subject. I have a little boy and a little girl. And if they both seek the same job or career, I don't want my son to have an advantage over my daughter if they both work the same and just as hard because he's a male. So what processes did I use to form my focus? Reading the articles, I read numerous research articles. Some are older, some are newer, and then I decided on the ones I wanted from doing the research. And then the classes and discussion posts I read from their students in the class. So I pinpointed my focus area to reasons for the gender gap, career paths women take, and basic thoughts found to be holding women back. What I hope to learn from research and the interview. From the research, has there been changes or any progress? What changes are there for this imbalance? And how are they trying to make progress to get women to move up? And is it being taken seriously? So we can do research, we can have the data and the statistics, but if it's not being supported, nothing will change. So are changes being made? And from the interview, I wanted to know, do women in the healthcare organizations notice that there's a gender gap? Are they doing anything else about it for themselves to get themselves promoted? And do they even want these positions? Maybe that's just not something that they're striving for. So the interviewee, I interviewed somebody who's been a nurse for over 12 years. Currently is an administrative coordinator, so her primary role is administrative coordinator, but she also works as a nurse in different areas if they're short. She is currently working on her master's degree. She's given the opportunity, so she decided to take it. That is expected if you want to get an executive position at where she works. And so she's completing that. Some thoughts she had. So I gave her some data and research information that I'd gotten, and she was surprised. She did not realize the percentage of women in the healthcare field compared to men, and also didn't realize how men had a higher percentage of the top executive positions than women did. But she also stated, after she completed her master's degree, there's some males in her courses, they complete theirs, they have the same career path, they have the same job opportunities, they basically have the same resume. And she interviewed for a job, she was certain that the male would get the job. And a lot of times that goes back to stereotypes. And it does have a huge impact. A lot of times women are looked at as being more emotional or leading by emotions. Not being up for the job, and putting family first over the job, and that they aren't strong enough or good enough to lead a big organization, that they're better for the smaller things. Also, sometimes it's nurses themselves or females themselves. For nurses, the job she works, she has to work 3 days a week. It just averages out to 3 days a week per month. And so as you're moving up into those executive positions, then you have to start working Monday through Friday. Yeah, you can get executive holidays and federal holidays off. However, a lot of women don't want to compromise family time or their free time in order to have an executive position. So time is more important than position sometimes. So that can play, she felt that could play a role. a lot of mentoring or networking is not focused on females. She has noted, throughout her career, she really wasn't given a lot of mentorship. So she just feels like everything she's done, she's kind of either learned or gone out and done on her own. And even though the nursing career field's been predominantly female, lately there's been a lot of male nurses entering it. So in the future, she feels there will be less leadership opportunities for females with so many more males coming on board in the nursing career field. Some strengths in my research. There is actually a lot of research being done. Some of it seems to be older, but it is being done. They looked at different levels of management that women held and found at mid-level management, women do get like about half of those positions, but then as it's time to move upward, they're not getting the top positions. And it proved women in top leadership roles have not changed much in the past few decades. Still around in the 27 percentiles. It really hasn't gone past that, which is difficult. And, according to Castellaccia in 2017, women represent just 26% of hospital CEOs positions, despite holding 75% of healthcare jobs. Also, it's been recognized that businesses that have more diverse top executive leadership have outperformed and have better outcomes in their organization than organizations that just have predominantly males. And then the research looked at different reasons why there might be a gap. Job placement, woman's career path. So a lot of times they're put in dead-end jobs, or there's different evaluations for men and women, performance evaluations. And so women who kind of stay in nursing services, move over to planning or quality assurance, that is not something that is upward mobility position. It kind of plateaus them, and then they're kind of stuck there. So the path they took isn't that helpful. Some of it was family time. They weren't willing to give up their family time, which I'd discussed with my interviewee. And then men not wanting women in executive positions. Some men don't like women in charge. Some feel that they're being represented at the mid-level. So, there is representation. So, it might not be at the top positions, but women are still in leadership positions. And then women lacking mentorship and needed networking. So a lot of times, men go fishing together or have a poker game or do something like that. And so they might not always be talking about work, but they know each other and they're networking. And hey, I can call Jim or Bob, where women don't get that same benefit. And having the networking and the mentorship, somebody knows your name, somebody, knows you a face. And so when it comes to getting jobs or moving up, having that recognition does have an impact. Some weaknesses of my research. Not researching successful companies ran by women. I couldn't find where they have proven that, women who run successful companies are better leaders. So, and that's kind of a hard thing to capture, information to capture. And then sometimes they lump some of the information in with business top executives, research, and healthcare. So they divided it out a little bit, but an article by Johns of 2013 was about women top executives, then broke, like I said, out into different areas. So it's business, but also healthcare. And then he also seemed to focus more on the health information professionals in healthcare, which tend to be over 90% females, even though men tend to lead in those areas also. And then the cross-sectional nature of data. So it's hard to qualify and quantify relationships. Some of the data is like, are you getting mentorship? Are you getting networking? And so questionnaires or interviews were done. And because of that, you're getting opinions. You're not actually getting fact, statistic basis. So you have to go by what you've been given back. So conclusion and recommendation. There needs to be a priority since women make up the majority of healthcare organizations, and more research should be done, or from the research at least new plans should be implemented in healthcare organizations. For future success in healthcare, there needs to be a priority for gender diversity and equality at the top. And future success of these organizations, they should be tapping into their most valuable research, which is the females working in their organization. Need talented people in these positions. You can't ignore over half of your workforce who are capable. And then groom women now for future leadership positions. Healthcare organizations needs to be giving time and resources to better equip females to lead organizations in the future. And references. A lot of the articles were really good, and so I attached this reference page. These are all the references I used for my research, and the McDonough was probably one of the best research papers that I read, or I enjoyed reading. Thanks for being patient. I'm kind of losing my voice. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation, and hopefully you learned something from it. Thank you so much.